Fourth Avenue to Techwood Drive, O'Leary to Key. It's WreckTalk!
What is going on, everyone, and welcome to WreckTalk. And today, we're going to talk about the story that just keeps on giving, the Nico, Tennessee saga. We're going to talk about mental illness being used as an excuse in some of this, possible 2024 playoff holdout threats, Dan Lanning, every quarterback that's ever been worth a darn that now wants to come to Tennessee, or every quarterback on their roster has instantly been upgraded to the next Tom Brady. There's a lot to talk about. Before we get into that, I want to address a comment I got on last video where I talked about, a lot of it was me reacting to Dave Hooker and pulling receipts on why I don't feel bad for Tennessee. Now, Dave Hooker is a guy that I look more into. He's a guy that is a personality for Tennessee, radio personality. I think he's on ESPN radio there as well, which tells you what kind of dumpster fire ESPN is, that a brain dead idiot like Dave Hooker has an internet platform. But anyways, I got a comment that said, you know what, WreckTalk? That's just speculation and conjecture. Everything that's talked about on YouTube, for the most part, 99% of it is speculation and conjecture, by the way. And let's just see that all the way through. So when you tell Tennessee something they don't like, that's speculation and conjecture. But if I were to put out a video and say, you know what? Modern medicine and physics has now just produced a de-aging machine that is going to de-age Tom Brady. NCAA is going to give Tom Brady infinite eligibility now, and he's coming to Tennessee. The same person would say, this guy did his research. He did his research. Guy knows what he's talking about. So that is, we all want rainbows and unicorns pumped into our veins from an IV. I'm not the guy for it, though. So let's get into this. And a lot of this is speculation and conjecture. Listening, I don't know if it was 680 The Fan or whatever in Atlanta, when they were talking about when Nico, didn't show up for practice. I guess an excuse was given of like, hey, why is Nico not at practice? What the hell's going on? We're about to go into the spring game here. Oh, yeah, he's having mental illness issues. Yeah, he's having mental illness issues. He can't practice. Let me be the first to say how disgusting that is, if true. And the reason I'm even bringing it up is it wouldn't be the first time. This happened at Ole Miss. Kid just stopped showing up to practice. Yep, having mental illness issues. Well, can he come talk to us? We'd like to talk to him. No, can't talk to you. No. Yeah. Oh, by the way, he's going to be suing you very soon. I'm sure mental illness is an issue in college football, just with everything that they're going through, right? The grind of Division I athletics, with also feigning to be a student these days. There's a lot that goes into it. And I guess something else they were saying is, oh, well, all the media stuff, is producing these issues. Here's the thing, like that's true for any quarterback or any player with any sort of notoriety on a team like Tennessee, right? I mean, what are we doing? And let's stop pretending like you use that as an excuse to shop out Nico. Now, again, it seems like his father or whoever in his family that's telling him to do this stuff, because he didn't have an agent until recently, not doing him any favors. And I also have to question what their motivations are. Like, let me take it away from Nico. If I have a kid that's of the notoriety of Nico, I'm going to shop you out. They're screwing you at this school. Oh, by the way, I'm going to take 15%. I'm going to be your manager. I know what I'm doing. It's another issue. Josh Pate went on Pat McAfee's show and discussed this. One thing McAfee brought up is like there's really no guide rails, even for representation of players. Like, it would be kind of nice if you had a database like, hey, any official talk with this player has to go through this guy. Like, this is, you can look it up in the database. Here's the guy that represents this guy. Anyone else does not represent this guy. Nothing like that exists. They also talked about, I guess there was a threat of holding out for the 2024 playoffs. Hey, that NIL money I got from you guys, that millions and millions of dollars, that was for the regular season. We're in the playoffs now. I'm going to need more money or I'm not going to be able to play. Now, you would think that this would be worked out, and I have no idea what these contracts look like, what kind of weight they hold, who knows. But you'd think that would be worked out on the front end. Hey, if we make a playoff berth, you get this X number of bonus, or you get X number of dollars per game or whatever. But to get that, you got to play in the game. You'd think that's worked out ahead of time, but we've gone from holdouts for bowl games or opt-outs for bowl games to now, aside from the playoffs, you had, like, at a minimum 20% of a team opt out of a bowl game. You had Marshall that had an entire team opt out and transfer out because their coach went to Southern Miss, to now being held up for ransom before a playoff game. Completely out of control. Completely out of control. And the NCAA has, well, let me just say it this way. The NCAA, every time they try and enforce a rule or something, they get sued to oblivion. They've been sued to oblivion by the state of Tennessee. So again, they've helped create this issue. So now there are no rules. Another shocker. Evidently, Dan Lanning contacted Josh Heupel. Again, rumor, conjecture, speculation. It's coming from Josh Pate. Alerted Josh Heupel that people were shopping his quarterback out. And I think this is what's starting to happen in lieu of really any guidelines or rules, is maybe a certain group of coaches are going to band together and say, hey, can we just make an agreement? If someone's shopping out my players, you'll let me know. Someone's shopping out your players, I'll let you know. That could be what's starting to happen. Where's, the portal opened up today. Where's Nico going to go? Well, one, I mean, I don't know, but his brand, his market value, I think, has been irreparably damaged. Again, he's gone from just someone who's been the subject of mild trolling from people like me to everything that's wrong with college football. Wherever he goes, he's going to be probably the most hated player in college football in 2025. Now, I'm sure he'll end up somewhere. There was talks of UNC, UCLA kind of makes sense because he's from California. It would be crazy if he went to UNC with Belichick and that whole situation. But wherever he goes, this is what I'm fairly sure of. He's not going to make what Tennessee was paying him last year, most likely. He's not going to play in front of as many fans, et cetera. Like, he's way, way worse off. And this might be a hot take. In some ways, I'm sympathetic to Nico. You're crazy. I know. I just want you to put yourself in his shoes. If you're a 19, 20, 21-year-old kid and your dad or your uncle or whoever's telling you a bunch of nonsense, like, you don't necessarily know who to trust. Hey, they're screwing you. Okay, well, this guy raised me. I'm going to listen to him. He might not have your best interest in mind. It's also hilarious that, I put it in the thumbnail of the last video. We're fine now. That backup quarterback we got, we're good. Don't need Nico anymore. Never heard a word about the guy before Nico hit the portal. They're getting every quarterback that's worth a darn. Yep, he's coming to Tennessee. Tennessee's certainly worse off. Now, look, they might end up being fine this year and maybe they do end up being better off without Nico, but they're certainly not in a better spot now, right? They're going to have to figure out quarterback. Most teams are going to know who their quarterback is at this point, shy of them getting blindsided like this with him hitting the portal. But again, with all of this that happens, it makes it less and less fun for the fan. Because what's the goal of if it's just money driven, the goal is going to be to get more eyes on your sport and get people that weren't watching it to watch it. Now, one avenue of that is gambling. I'm not going to touch that one. But the other avenue is to get more casual fans or people that weren't before a fan involved. And things like this is going to be bigger and bigger barriers to them enjoying the sport. In other words, the fan ends up getting screwed in all of this. You can't get attached to any one player. Like, look at Georgia Tech, a guy in Romello Height that was on his third school. He'd been to USC, California USC, and Auburn before he came to Georgia Tech. Had a really good season at Georgia Tech. Now he's at Texas Tech. Takes however much money to go over there. Every kid's on a year-to-year contract. It is what it is. Is there a solution to this? Now, Pate and McAfee talked about, it seems like the federal government needs to step in and do this. I think you'll really start seeing change in this system if a guy like Kirby goes to the NFL. And I know you think that might be crazy, but Kirby's come out, in a press conference said, look, I have agents contacting me. Hey, I want to have a Zoom call, introduce you to the people I'm represent, talk about, their futures, possibly what they might look like. And Kirby's like, hell, some of them are on my team. We're sitting here in spring, and it's entirely possible our roster might look substantively different by the time we play the first game. It's not sustainable. So, yeah, Kirby making a ton of money, has been very successful at Georgia, but there might come a point where even a guy like him says, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to live in fear 365 days a year that my best players are going to potentially be poached, or to prevent that, I just have to be pulling my hair out constantly. Like, I don't want to do that anymore. It's gone from coaching your team and recruiting to all this other stuff that's now taking up possibly more time than being a coach ever did before. We're already seeing it. We're already seeing there's a mass exodus of coaches going to the NFL. So I think if you see something like that, Brian Kelly leaves to go to the NFL, Ryan Day leaves to go to the NFL, like things that hurt viewership. When things that hurt viewership happen, then you'll see change. And I bet you they won't need the federal government to step in. When it hurts the bottom line, you'll see change quicker than you've ever seen it happen in college athletics. So let me know what you guys think. Is this recoverable? What do you think about using mental illness as an excuse that seems to be happening? Playoff holdouts, other coaches alerting other coaches of what we have called tampering, which really we know there's no rules. By the way, you know why, whatever team you root for, you know why your coach doesn't say who's tampering with his players? Because he's tampering. It's the reality of it. He's doing the same thing. Before we did have, like Mac Brown came out and said, hey, they're tampering with Drake May. You know why he wouldn't call him out? Because he does the same thing. So let me know what you guys think. Y'all have a fantastic day. We'll talk to you guys next time.